I'm often asked about what is the right structure for an interview. There's no one, but this really should not be overcomplicated. You are simply setting a meeting agenda so as not to fall into a free-flowing, unstructured conversation that loses track of time or subject matter. When I interview, I tend to use the following structure. I begin with an introduction. I introduce myself, thank the candidates for their application and the time for having this conversation. Then I ask the candidates for their questions. I tell candidates I see interviews as a two-way street, and as much as an interview is an opportunity for me to ask them questions, it is also an opportunity for them to interview me. I ask the candidates what questions they have for me. I do this for two main reasons. First, it will immediately allow the candidate to show their engagement and level of preparation. I freely admit I do not like unprepared candidates. I see it as disrespectful if someone comes into an interview without at least having done some basic research about the business or the interviewer. Candidates that will have a list of questions they want to ask and pull out a notebook are the ones that tend to be more organized, professional, and take their work as well as career seriously. They also tend to be more self-aware and be better communicators in my experience. Secondly, it shows me immediately what are the topics of concern or interest to the candidate. Is it money, people, the business, team structure, leadership, product, code quality, personal development, or something entirely different? Instead of asking questions around motivators, goals, and management style during the interview, just listen to the questions you are asked. Then I move on to asking the candidate my questions. I have a set of 3 to 5 questions or topics I want to explore in an interview. Don't get too hungry here. Instead of 20 questions, you will not have the time to ask. Select the topics that matter most and dive deeper into them. You will get more out of the interview. And then ask the candidate if they have any further questions. Yep, more time for the candidate to ask you questions. At this point though, I would expect candidates to explore more about what you discussed in the interview. Then I set out the following steps. I set expectations. When will they hear back from me? Will they hear back from us? What happens next? What is the timeline? You can even share some feedback here and decide to progress or reject. Set the agenda though and stick to it. And finally, I conclude. I thank the candidate for their time and end the interview. This is of course not the only interview structure you can use, and I suggest you take the time to define yours. What is important though is that you have one. Make sure to go into the interview with a clear agenda. It will keep you consistent, structured, and on time. Importantly, it will also enable you to provide candidates with a consistent interview experience and leave the meeting with a clear insight as well as a clearly defined next step. As one of my early mentors told me, people will not remember what you said in an interview, but they will always remember how you made them feel. Make sure your candidates always come out feeling good, even if they know they will not get the job. Thanks for listening.